Hello and welcome to my e-learning presentation on my course in A/B Study on evaluating arguments and persuasive messages. Why this topic? Americans experience between 4 and 10,000 ads per day. And these come from individuals, from political leaders, from companies, and other actors. Many of these messages and arguments appeal to System 1 processing that can influence whether we agree with a message without involving deliberate, effortful evaluation of the message. But when people's awareness is heightened of persuasive strategies, this can yield reactance, a state that helps us more effectively evaluate persuasive messages and arguments. And so, by heightening people's awareness of rhetorical and persuasive strategies, the course should make people better able to critically evaluate persuasive messages, making people better able to decide effortfully for themselves whether they agree with a given message or argument. So our learning goals are all evaluative. So given an argument, first, students will be able to evaluate which of the logos, ethos, and pathos appeals, Aristotle's rhetorical appeals, are leveraged by the author to persuade the audience. Secondly, given an argument, students will be able to evaluate which of Cialdini's persuasive principles are leveraged by the author to persuade the audience. And lastly, students will be able to articulate an example of a context in which one of Cialdini's persuasive principles is most likely to activate System 1 processing, in which we automatically are nudged or prompted to agree with a message without effortful or deliberate processing of the message. And if you're wondering how that happens, I encourage you to take the course. So here are the instructional strategies in both versions. So first, I use the doer effect in both versions due to research demonstrating its positive impact on student learning versus passive learning, most recently in the Campenhouse 2021 study demonstrating that active practice opportunities have a causal relationship with increased learning in an online university context. In this way, there were practice opportunities staggered throughout the course related to all learning targets. Further, targeted explanatory feedback was written in response to observed student difficulties in the select all questions during learner testing. Feedback was written and tailored to address student misconceptions expressed in incorrect answers and build upon partial correct answers. Feedback was explanatory because explanatory feedback has been demonstrated to be more effective than exclusively corrective feedback at fostering student learning in Moreno's 2004 study. The personalization principle similarly was used due to research demonstrating that students are more engaged with material when a second person language is used. So second-person language was incorporated throughout the module. Transfer to authentic contexts was particularly important and feasible to do in this module, because online arguments and persuasive messages are common, so real-world examples leveraging the rhetorical and persuasive strategies could be identified that are similar to what a learner would experience and does experience outside the module. This is crucial because we want the learners to be able to routinely evaluate whether messages leverage these rhetorical and persuasive strategies to be more critical evaluators during their online activity. This image here is an example of a persuasive message leveraging social proof that a learner could see in real life outside of the course. And this example was actually leveraged during the assessment to gauge students' ability to apply their evaluative skills in authentic contexts. What was the innovative strategy? It was an activate prior knowledge activity. So an APK journal activity was inserted before instructional content and practice regarding each rhetorical appeal and persuasive strategy. So for example, in this activity on the screen, the learner is prompted to take a moment to reflect and describe a time when you experienced social proof, along with a description of what social proof is. So the learner journals about their prior experience before engaging with activity related to engaging with instructional content related to social proof. So why this activate prior knowledge activity? In a Spires et al. 1998 study, high school students who connected their own personal experiences with informational text had heightened engagement with the text and scored higher on application level comprehension questions than students who didn't do the APK activity. So students should learn more if they connect their prior knowledge and experiences with to-be-learned content, right? Well, we will find out in a bit. So in the A/B test, the null hypothesis is that there's no relationship between learners engaging in the APK activity and learners' acquisition of the ability to evaluate whether messages contain the given persuasive strategies. And the alternative hypothesis is that there is a relationship between these APK activities and learners' ability to evaluate whether messages contain the given persuasive strategies. So in the test, 20 participants were recruited in total in a volunteer sample. And after recruitment, the list of participants was randomly ordered using random.org's list randomization tool. In the resulting list, each participant with an even number was assigned Group A, and each with an odd number was assigned Group B. This way, each person had an equal shot of being assigned to A or B. The only difference in the experience between the two was the treatment. And log data obtained through OLI ensures that in every instance but one, the learners engaged in the treatment and that the learner's lived experience was connected with the relevant rhetorical or persuasive strategy. Our results show that we fail to reject the null hypothesis. We fail to reject that there's no significant relationship between the Activate Prior Knowledge journals and students' mastery of the learning goals. So questions and next steps. So while my Activate Prior Knowledge activities did connect students' prior experiences with the learned content, they only had students journal about their experiences rather than attempt to answer an explanatory question that students would learn how to answer after the given section of the module. So in a follow-up study, I'd revise the APK activities so that students are prompted to use their prior knowledge to provide an explanatory answer to a question that students will learn how to answer in the instruction, in line with a Presley et al. 2010 study showing that APK might need to be done in such a way that prompts learners to provide explanatory answers to questions about to-be-learned content rather than simply journaling about prior knowledge that is related to the learned content. Thank you.